So, oh, 1 second. We're going live. Good morning, everybody. It is another wonderful Monday, and OG Trey Griggs had a little bit of tweak of the neck this morning, so we're gonna supplement him with another Trey. We got Trey Mooney on today.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Well, yeah, what I was saying, man, the whole point of Iron Minds is I remember feeling clueless, feeling unsure, feeling inadequate, inferior. Pick your adjective, right? You're in a professional world. You're around these people that are in suit and ties and make this whole game look good. They're hustling. And when you've never been sure of yourself in a profession, that can be a very daunting thing. But I remember about 6 months into my first logistics job where I had great mentorship, true sales training, was becoming a real professional in the sales world. I remember it was like a switch flip. There was one specific day to where kind of everything just made sense, from the understanding of really how the supply chain functions across all different modes of transportation, how they intertwine, and then just the assurity of myself and being able to do this and like having that confidence. And I remember that moment of empowerment. It was like almost like ascending. Um, and I want to help other people get to that point that aren't there, because there's a lot of people out there that are incredibly talented, they're incredibly brilliant. But sometimes if you don't believe that in yourself, or you don't have somebody pouring into you, or to see that and you recognize it and help pull you up out of that, it's like maybe you have a glass ceiling that you're not able to get past, because not everyone's fortunate to grow up around people that will pour into them, lift them up, see the greatness in them, and help them see it themselves. And that can be a very limiting and suffocating thing. And my goal is to somehow remove as much of that as possible from others, just by way of the things that I do, just trying to um, maybe tell my story or kind of highlight the affirmations that have gotten me to this point. It's like those moments that where you're like, okay, I know I'm on the right path, or I know I'm doing the right things, because I'm seeing results. So like all of that kind of combined into one, and they're really just to foster a community of like-minded people, man, to get the week started, because it's kind of the whole point is iron sharpens iron. Um, I have an abundance mindset. I don't see competitors. Right? Like I got a bunch of friends that are technically direct competitors that I'm more refer business to, or partner with, because it's like there's more than plenty out there for all of us, right? So that's kind of in a nutshell the point of Iron Minds. It's something to hold me accountable, get me up on a Monday morning, and I get to do it with someone that I hold in very high regard, which is Trey Griggs. I'm very thankful for that relationship. I cherish it. And anytime I can do something fun that doesn't feel like work with people like that, sign me up.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
I feel a little out of place with you lifting. I'm over here, got my pumpkins next to me.
Oh no, dude, you're good. You're good. This
But,
is impromptu.
but
But yeah,
yeah,
dude, tell me, tell everyone watching, tell me a little bit about you, dude. I'll tell you why I invited you onto the show.
yeah, absolutely. So, like I was telling you, I'm actually a student athlete right now. I graduated in December. I was a decathlete here at Pitt State. I'm actually a two-time national champion. So, um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, what a decathlon is you do 10 events. And so you do 5 one day, 5 the next day. And then you kind of add the points up, depending on, so every event is dependent upon how close you are to the world record in a sense. And so however close you are to that world record, the more points you get. And so you add up all those points at the end of the 10 events. Whoever has the most points is, I guess, the winner. And so, yeah, it's more mentally, I guess you have to be more mentally tough than I guess physically. Obviously, you
Okay.
got to be physically in shape. You got to train, but the mental aspect of it is huge.
What up, Scott?
What's up,
Sorry, go
Scott?
ahead.
But yeah, so that's kind of, I mean, that's what I did in college, and then I got connected with RTS as an intern during the summer, last summer, and then I did fairly well, and they offered me a job, and I accepted it as I liked it. Had nothing to do, I had no idea about the trucking, transportation, logistics world,
I didn't
um,
either.
and I got into it. Man, I love it. I think I love just the the relationship building aspect, because that's who I am as a person. I just love relationships. I think relationships are really the only thing that we can carry on into, into heaven and seeing Jesus and stuff. So like just that aspect, I love relationship building, and I learned that in trucking logistics. What I do, I talk to carriers. Building those relationships is really fun to me. So
Yeah,
that's who I am.
that's awesome,
Yeah,
dude.
that's what I do.
So we got someone on that's clearly more athletic than me or Trey Griggs. Trey, we're gonna have to get this man invited to a Tough Mudder ASAP. We need someone to set the pace.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. I've actually been looking into those Spartan races.
Yeah.
Uh, that whew, would be
So me and
tough.
Trey got connected via LinkedIn, and I would consider him to be one of my closest relationships, especially industry specific. One day I posted as a freestyle rap when I was sitting in traffic. I would call it traffic jamming. Um, and Tim Dooner over at What the Truck and Freight Waves had tagged Trey and essentially like, hey, I think you got some competition because Trey's a pretty creative guy and has MC'd and done some rap stuff in the past. But we ended up getting connected and just kind of through friendly joking around on LinkedIn, developed this very close relationship. So earlier this year, he invited me out to the St. Louis Tough Mudder. It was back in April. So that was our first time meeting in person after knowing each other and
Let's
really
go.
talking for about 4 or 5 months. So it's like LinkedIn was a conduit for that. For me, it was a
Mhm.
medium to establish, and that's a pretty key relationship in my life for this industry too. Plus, Trey's a godly man. I need people like that in my life exclusively and only. Um, so like it's been a really cool, journey process, whatever you want to call it, really getting to know him, getting to be introduced to other people inside his circle as well. And so we just got done doing our second Tough Mudder where he flew into Dallas this time because it was here. Um, Picked him up. We had some other people come out in the industry. So we're really trying to make this a thing where maybe we can do like 4 a year and try to invite more and more people out, really step outside the comfort zone if they've never done it. Or again, just to keep us surrounded and have those in-person relationships and experiences with other people that kind of align with us.
Oh yeah. Oh, I would love that. I will definitely participate with you guys in a Tough Mudder. So what is that? What does that consist of? I've heard of it. I've seen people do it. But
It's an obstacle course race, so very similar to a Spartan race, but just add really rough terrain and muddy stuff. Scott's tuned into like every episode. He's over at Armstrong. This guy is up before we are and beats us to this place. He's a real one. Scott, we're gonna get you on eventually, dude. I've seen your name for like 30 episodes. But yeah, man. So it's a little over 9 miles, 30 obstacles typically. Um, the Tough Mudder's a lot of fun, man. And the thing I try to express to someone is I went into like what it was gonna be going into it. Like I created what this experience was going to be before I did it.
uh,
And it seems like a very daunting task, especially for someone who hadn't literally run in 12 years. I stopped running completely after baseball. Like all my cardio was lifting weights faster or jump roping. Um, but like I realized like the one thing we're meant to do is stand upright and to run. My hips and everything are suffering. It's like, all right, we got to change this. I have to start running again. So that's why I used that to basically force myself to start running again because I knew I'd have to train for it somewhat.
yeah.
But dude, it was such, I did it for my own reasons. And I didn't anticipate on like loving the event itself. It was more so about meeting people I wanted to meet and to develop more of a relationship with.
Like yeah.
Uh, and it's funny because walking into the event, you see signs everywhere that say things such as like "Welcome to your new addiction," things like that. And I was making jokes about it. The first one was like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna be great. I love like being in pain and hating my life and yada yada yada." And dude, halfway through it, I couldn't help but like find myself just smiling.
That's awesome.
Um,
Come
and
on.
when you cross that finish line too, it was just like just this rush of gratification and you know you're pumped for yourself because it's like it's not an easy thing, but it's not necessarily, it doesn't have to be as hard as you might perceive it either, because it's not like you got to be an Iron Man to go out there and do this. There's people that just hopped up off the couch that haven't trained for it and go out there and do it, because it can be as, so how I explained it to someone, it can be either the most physically difficult thing you've ever had to endure, or it can be you frolicking in the mud with friends with childlike joy for 4 hours, right? Because there's not someone holding a gun to your head saying, "Hey, you have to finish at this pace. Like run, run,
Exactly.
run." It's like it can be whatever you want it to be. You don't have to push yourself. If you just want to do it at your own pace, just, everyone's got their own reasons for why they're there. Um, but we have a pretty competitive group of people who would consider themselves somewhat athletes or somewhat trying to be, trying to hold on to that fleeting concept as we get older. But So like we like to push each other a little bit, and like there's something about that tribalistic nature of being in the trenches with your brothers or your other people. Kind of reminds me of
Oh,
being back in
absolutely.
baseball, right? Like we're gonna embrace the suck together, and we're gonna get through it. We're gonna find out some
Heck yeah.
stuff about ourselves. We're gonna maybe push ourselves to a spot mentally that we have to break past. But either way, it's growth. It's challenging ourselves. It's stepping out of our comfort zone. Um, so I think just if you've never done something like that, just the simple fact for signing up with intention, like I'm going to do this, whether I'm fast or slow,
Mhm.
it takes a lot. You know, it's
Oh,
like it's you got because you're putting yourself out there. It's like you're going to get disgusting. You're going to get freezing cold. Um, you actually don't get cold once you get moving. You heat up fast if you're like me, like real
yeah.
fast. But yeah, dude. So it's an obstacle course race. Think of Spartan race, but out in crappy terrain.
Yeah.
Really
So here's
muddy.
the thing. That is right up my alley. I love that.
Me
I
too.
love that. Just the like you're just grinding and you're disciplined and that's just who I am as a person. So that sounds actually amazing.
It was a
I'm
lot of
ready.
fun.
You guys have to get me out there. I mean, I'll obviously get out there whenever. But I would love to run that with you guys. That would be because I've
So they
been looking for
travel.
something to like because so I didn't do track this year. I had another year of eligibility, but I didn't do it because I graduated in December. And I need to make some, need to make some money. I got a family, and so I've been
Yep.
looking for something that is tough, like a decathlon, because whenever I first stopped, I went from practicing like 6 hours, 7 hours a day because I had to learn 3 to 4 events a day, just practice and practice. And whenever I stopped doing that, like I didn't know what to do with myself. So I mean, I had to run. I mean, I just ran
Yeah.
miles. I mean, be lifting, but I want to find that, that exactly what you're talking about, just something that'll keep me disciplined
Yeah.
because I'm a competitive guy. Like I want
Yeah.
to be successful. I want to win in every area of my life.
Right.
And so, I mean, I'm grateful to be able to connect with you guys because you guys seem like you're like-minded people that need the, iron sharpens iron, right? And so, I've been looking for kind of cool that you said tribal, I guess, tribe for trying to find your tribe of people. I've been praying for that same thing. If I need to find my tribe of people that I can do life with that want to be successful, that want to be great, that want to be disciplined. And so, um, yeah, I believe whenever I move up to KC in December that I'm going to find some of my people there, but also just through LinkedIn, I feel like I found like people, and it's just me just wanting to connect with people and other people wanting to connect with other people. And from that, I feel like I've really started to see that there are people out there who want the same thing, who want to go after and having that tribal, that brotherhood is, you need that in life. You need that in
I
life. That's
I
awesome.
think so too, man. I agree. Life's not easy. It's even harder if you're on an island by yourself, which a lot of us work remote now.
Mhm.
So it's like from me personally, I can't speak to everyone, but like it's important for me.
Oh,
Um, keeps me on track. It helps, it's very easy to get sucked back into the motions of the laziness, the instant gratification, the we are born and bred to be consumers in this world. Like, if you want to be serious, right? Like, we are bred to be instant gratification chasing, dopamine spike chasing, ADD, ADHD fueled consumers. I
yeah.
don't want to be that, but I know naturally I will get sucked into that if I don't have something to give me my bearings or my grounding, or
Mhm.
kind of like call it my true north if you want to. Like, so I have to surround myself with people. And that was just part of my own growth and recognizing about myself and being real with myself.
Oh, yeah.
Um, because I've pretty much done things on my own to a certain degree. Like, I don't really go out. I don't see my friends as much as I'd like to. So that was one of the things I wanted to do this year, was be more intentional with all of my relationships. That's
Yeah.
kind of that was one of my resolutions, if you want to call it. Um, and it has paid for itself, man. It's been priceless to do that. I've got to meet so many fantastic, brilliant people who also align with me on a human level.
Oh, yeah.
As a father, as a man, as a colleague, as a, whatever it might be. Um, both men and women out there. And like, I don't necessarily care at the end of the day what I do. I just want to do something meaningful with really cool people that I enjoy working with.
Oh,
So like
yeah.
that's another reason I'm trying to really find out who people are in this industry, especially the ones that are a little more active and vocal out there. Because I want to connect with them. I don't, like I said, I don't have an abundance mindset. There's way too much freight. There's way too much business out
Oh, yeah.
there to not be very intentional with developing relationships and growing your network. Because
Oh, absolutely.
at the end of the day, my only thing is I want to pull people up. with me. I had help along the way. I was very fortunate to have the mentors and the bosses I did to start my logistics industry and paid tenfold. Gunnar Miller, shout out to that guy. Love that guy. He's fantastic. I got to meet him this week in Chattanooga for the first time as well. He's somebody I connect with. He's an athlete. He's a wrestler. I think he was a college wrestler, like a national level. And he's also a big fight fan. And I'm one of those weird people that played baseball my entire life, but will not, all through college, full ride to throw a baseball, but you cannot pay me to sit down and watch a baseball game. I'm not watching traditional sports. You're not going to get me to do it. I can't stand watching football, basketball, baseball, soccer, golf. Bang, 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 bang. Reload, bang, 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 bang. I don't want to do it. But combat sports, boxing and mixed martial arts, tractor beam, all day. I don't know what it is. But ever since I did that, I've been I'm trying to mix my profession and my true passions outside of that together and find people that also fit into that sphere. It's like, man, how much fun could work be if you can really build a network around those things? It makes life easy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Scott says I work out in order to consume. I mean, Scott, you ain't lying, bro. Sushi and Thai food carry some calories, so I agree, bro.
I don't know Gunnar personally, but I've connected with him on LinkedIn.
Yep.
Yeah.
Talk to that guy.
That dude's the real deal, I feel like.
Gunner's really cool. Very down to earth. What you see is what you get.
Absolutely.
Great dude. So Scott, pretty much anyone that tunes in, you see here, they kind of fall in that pattern. At least that's what it seems like from my experiences. But that's awesome. So yeah, dude. Why I saw you is your name stands out because you're fairly consistent and engaging with certain posts and content, and they're typically around my faith, which stood out to me because it seems to be that you're showing up and you're engaging when it comes to that. And again, it's important to me as I start being more intentional with my faith, because I've kind of been 1 foot in, 1 foot out, living my life as a pretty straight arrow, but finally realizing as an adult, as a husband with 3 daughters, it's like you can't have that 1 foot in, 1 foot out, going through the motions approach anymore. And I was kind of spiritually numb because of that, realizing it was my own fault. So in order to keep me on track and, for me to become who I am called to be and to lead my family the way I was called to be, I have to surround myself with that, because I'm a product of my environment, much like most of us are. It's the whole, like, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And realizing that about myself is like, I need people to help keep me there, hold me accountable, people I can lean on in tough times. So like, that's all those things I've talked about are kind of a culmination of why I guess I network and I try to connect with people, things like this. It's just, this was an avenue, an idea, and Trey helped me get it out of my head and launch it. And if anything else, didn't ever care if it had a real following. At the end of the day, it gets me up on a Monday morning and I get to get my workout and to start my week off, because without it, I'm telling you with certainty, I'd have missed 85% of these Mondays. No question about it.
I like that. Yeah. So
yeah.
I'm a big Jesus fan, man. I love Jesus. I mean, I got testimony after testimony, but yeah, I mean, just getting into the secret place and being alone is kind of what's helped me. I went through a season of 2 years where I was just being pruned and disciplined by the Lord, and it wasn't it's not a good feeling, whenever you're being disciplined. It says in the Bible,
it's very uncomfortable.
It's not pleasant at the time. However, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace. And so, I was being disciplined by the Lord in just all areas of my life. I mean, I was recovering from some stuff. I had, and especially in college, whenever you got a wife and you got a daughter, and then you have people, who aren't in that area of life with you. It's hard to find those people to connect with whenever you're in just a total different season of life. And then they want to do certain activities that you don't want to do, but you get sucked into certain things. And so I was battling myself, like you were saying, just in and out for a while. I was saved and I got filled with the Holy Spirit when I was like a junior in high school. And then, just got into college and was just wishy-washy. And it says in Matthew, whenever that happens, your mind doesn't know what to think because you're just being tossed by the waves, right? And so it took me just letting go and just being disciplined and pruned. And for 2 years, man, it was the hardest part of my life, but I wouldn't ever change it and go back, or I wouldn't ever change it for anything, because I was so close to him and I learned so much through the journey. And so, I look back at, because right now I feel I'm in a different season. I'm in a season of, I feel like, just blessing and just meeting people and experiencing God's goodness in a way that I never had before. But it took going through the wilderness. It took being disciplined and pruned. Um, and from that, I was so close to him. And so now I think, man, I actually really liked that season because I was so close. And it's almost like it was just a season that I needed because I'm so much better off. But it sucked, and that's what people don't realize. Is sometimes like it's gonna take you just it's gonna suck,
It's
and
gonna be trial by
yeah,
fire.
yeah,
Unfortunately, like that's there's no such thing as growth out
no,
in a comfort zone.
absolutely,
I don't
yeah,
know of any. I've never heard of any. Everything I've ever seen, it's going to take you pushing your own
yeah.
boundaries, your own limits, your own beliefs.
I mean, you
That's
can't.
kind of the entire point of
Yeah,
faith.
exactly. I mean, you can't sacrifice nothing and expect to get something in return. Like you have to
Yep.
sacrifice something. You have to grow. Like continuing to grow is, I mean, it takes getting rid of yourself. I mean, it takes getting rid of certain things that you've learned and to just like, yeah, I mean, growing is not comfortable, but learning to be uncomfortable is probably the best thing that I've learned because if I'm comfortable in any area of my life, like spiritual, work, physically, mentally, if I am comfortable, then I know I'm not growing. And so I love
Yeah.
to be uncomfortable because I need to grow, no matter what it is, like just anything in life.
Yeah.
And so,
Nah, I agree, dude. It's I think most men especially, we're very prideful. We don't like to ask for help. We think that we can shoulder everything because that's what we're supposed to do, quote unquote. It's not. Life was not meant to be done alone. Uh, we need companionship. We need brotherhood. We need fellowship. We need people that can pour into us and lead us in the right path because it's very easy to go the other way.
yeah,
It's even easier to go the other way. And
heck yeah,
also, man, like we just live in the world we live in. Like it's so, there's nothing noble. I'm sorry. There's nothing noble about quote unquote being average or letting the world, let your moral foundation be dictated by earthly values. Like, and that's something I've had to learn because again, I've been a pretty straight arrow my entire life, but like that alone, just being a good human and wanting to make the world a better place than from when you woke up is still not enough. There's still more there. Um,
hmm that's
so like
good. Yeah,
that's a big reason. Like I've started this year to be more intentional about it, and I've taken these steps to step out of my comfort zone, dude. It's been challenging. It's been tough.
hmm
Um, but that that's the point. Got to a point where I literally just collapsed and said, dude, I surrender.
come
I
on,
can't do
yeah,
this anymore. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely, yeah, come on,
it gets to that point. Sometimes it takes that breaking point, but like that's part of life, dude.
oh
That's
yeah,
part of it. I don't want to look up 3 years from now and kind of be in the same place. That would
oh yeah,
there's kind of be nothing worse than that because 3 years time is going to come no matter what. Like, what are you doing in that time? And I'm nowhere near as disciplined or organized as I'd like to be, but I'm definitely taking steps in that right direction, kind
oh
of
yeah,
to get to where I want to be. And also at the same time, trying to just be present and listen because my plans may not be what his plans are. And I can't control that, right? So it's a constant adjustment of self awareness and taking inventory of my life or trying to
hmm
um, and which is why I lean on people such as yourself or want to have that around me because you're going to need it to hear testimony, interpretation, help, guidance
yeah,
through maybe their own experiences or whatever the case might be. So
oh
it's
yeah,
been awesome, dude. It's a pleasure to have you on the show and get to know you a little bit.
oh,
I think what you're
absolutely,
doing's good, dude. Putting yourself out there, really starting to the space. This industry has been incredible for me. Whether it's where I end up long term, I have no idea. But what I do know is I can't stop thinking about freight or logistics. It's super, super annoying. I can't talk to people outside of this industry because as soon as 5 o'clock hits and where other people like check out because this is just a job, it never stops. I can't turn it off. I wish I could because it's a curse and a burden sometimes. But because of
same,
that, it's almost to the point where it's like I don't even know how to interact with people not in this industry anymore, or else it just feels weird because it's like it's all I want to talk about. Whether it's like the sales side of it, the psychology side of it, this 3D dynamic, ever changing puzzle of supply chain that's never ending and always has a new variable or problem to solve. There's something that just triggers that like natural curiosity in me, um, and I try to just lean into my instincts when those things pop up because like if it's not blatantly apparent from like the stuff I post, I have severe ADHD, ADD, and I used to think that like, oh man, this sucks. I need to figure out how to control it. And it's like No, it's kind of actually more like a superpower if you embrace it that way and focus
Really?
on really. There's a reason things don't interest me. It's because it just doesn't do anything for me. That's the
Yeah.
kind of But when there is that something, you get like hyper focused, and it's like it
Yeah.
becomes an obsession. It's like
Yep.
I try to lean into those instincts and find those things that make me feel that way. Because when I think back on it, anytime I follow those, I tend to be either good at them or it brings me a lot of joy. Right. So like
Yeah.
that's trying to be in tune and keen with that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
it's a great industry, dude. It's very competitive. It's never going away. It At the end of the day, groceries got to end up back on the shelves.
Heck yeah.
We got to
Yeah.
keep getting product in, distributing. Like it's the wheels got to keep rolling. Um,
Same.
so
Like,
it's a,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just say it gives you. I want to work on the industry and not in it. I want to be a part and be surrounded by kind of the next generation of thought leaders moving this industry forward because I just find it fascinating.
Yeah.
So I'm taking this chance to learn this stuff, man, because it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's never going away. It's only going to advance and move forward. And we're in just such an interesting time now in our history because of the enablement of technology and year over year, how fast it is expanding us forward. I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right, Scott. It's funny because without the pandemic, most people just assume stuff just shows up like it's supposed to, and then they start shining a light on America's supply chain. And now trucking and logistics is kind of more on the forefront of a common person not in this industry. Where before,
Uh-huh.
dude, I knew nothing about logistics except when I click checkout, it ships in 2 days for this product that I have to have yesterday. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It's like other than that, I knew nothing. But it's like, man, it's such an interesting process, and to see what people go through, what's involved just to get something to a shelf.
Right.
I find that very fascinating.
It's like everyday life now. I mean, I'm new to the industry, and so like it was just like seeing all you guys talk about this. I thought I was, like I think whenever I see a truck on the road, I'm like, oh, I wonder what kind of fuel discounts he's getting, or I wonder if I can help him out. And then now when I'm at the store, I'm like, oh, I wonder who ships that. So it's just funny because I'm new to it, and I find myself doing the same thing of thinking about it, thinking about ways that maybe I can help improve just the whole just logistics. It's just hilarious
It's a
that
game. It became a
yeah,
game for me.
yeah,
And another like goal of mine too is to take like the over formalities and like the over professionalism, if you want to call it that, out of this industry. Because I feel like it's what you would consider like a good old boy, older fashioned, and it's an antiquated thing to where for so long I feel like it was done a certain way, or like it was painted in a certain like optic, if that makes sense.
hmm
I feel like business doesn't have to be great business and great relationships do not have to be done in a stale, old, boring manner. Because at the end of the day, dude, sitting across from me, no matter if this is the decision maker for Walmart's transportation and I'm a provider, I'm talking to a human. He deals,
exactly,
he or she deal with the same problems I deal with. We probably relate on a personal level on most things, like whether you're a parent, you're a spouse, like we have all these things in common, but I feel like everyone has these silos up and we have to be Mr. Professional all the time. And like, I'm done with all that. I'm done with it. I've tried to be the overly articulate Mr. Professional. Check out these big buzzwords I know and how I can string them together to sound cool to prove credibility. I'm done with all that. I want to have fun doing this,
oh yeah,
and I want to kind of attract that same type of person uh, because like business can be fun, and
heck yeah,
I want to basically prove that. You know what
oh
I'm
yeah,
saying?
oh
At
yeah.
least to myself.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I talked to like hundreds of. I mean, not now, but whenever I just was in the internship, I mean, I talked to hundreds of carriers a day, and I just learned that. I mean, I just talked to him just like I was talking to him, like one of my friends, and that gave me more success. But it also made me feel more connected to the industry world as a part of like I just relationships. That's all. I mean, they're on the
Yeah.
road for this amount of hours. They're in the truck. They don't get to talk to a lot of people. They might, they get a lot of phone calls and spam calls like that. But when you can start a conversation with a carrier, that's how I learn the most about the world is just talking to people who are doing it, who are in it, and just building that relationship meant so much more to me than I guess making a sale. Like I like relationships, and so that was just huge for me. And I don't know what
Yeah.
it is about this world, but like you guys and just like I mean Gunnar and Scott and all you guys, I feel like they're like my type of people. Like you guys are driven. I feel like you guys like to work out, like to get stuff done, like to get up and just grind through it, and that's who I am. So I've loved just all that aspect of the logistics industry. I love it just
Yeah.
because everyone. I just haven't seen a type of people like this in an industry yet that are kind of the same in a sense of how we're driven. And yeah, so
There's a lot of people out there, man, that will help and that are willing to help or lend an extended hand to teach you what they've learned or to answer questions or interact with you. Much more so than, you know, I wasn't a professional, quote unquote, or sure of myself in anything I did before this. Like it was me just being a yes man, trying to be a pleaser, basically an order taker, a good soldier. And I realized like I can't become who I need to if that's who I'm going to be. But it takes a lot of confidence in yourself and a surety to kind of put yourself out there, feel like you do have a voice, and really at the end of the day, if you feel like you can bring value to someone, not worrying about what someone else's opinion were, which is why a lot of I do this too, is like kind of push my own boundaries. Like I've got this creative muscle that I need to work out a lot more, and I feel like I don't get to, I don't have an outlet for it. So I'm trying to figure out a way how to tie that into what I'm doing. Um, so I've got some ideas that I'm working on that I haven't put out yet, but I'm pretty confident that it will be received well. And it's something I'm excited to do. Um, so it's been cool. There's a lot of fantastic and incredible humans in this space.
yeah,
Um, and the closer you can get to being that authentic self and really
thank
being who
you.
you are without having to put this facade on, because that's exhausting. I can't do it all day. I tried to, I did it. Um, I don't ever want to go back to that. I don't want to feel like I'm in a cage and just smothered. It's like I've got enough people around me who've poured into me and helped me understand like I can bring value to people, and I'm just going to trust these people that I hold in high regard. If they're telling me that, I'm going to trust them, and I'm going to try to really lean into that. Because at the end of the day, dude, that's if everyone is at their best self, think about the change we can make.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's the end goal. 30 minutes passes so fast here.
Yeah, it is.
Well, dude, it was an absolute pleasure having you on, man. I'm glad you joined. We'll have to get you
Absolutely.
in at a workout in one of these when we're all kind of into it. I just came back from Chattanooga for an entire week. I'm trying to get back into working out, dude. I joked about it with a post, but I've been on like this sleep deprived high coming back, and like the industry, it was such an incredible event. So shout out to Freightways, Craig Fuller, and those guys over there for putting this on. But like even more so cooler than the event and like seeing all the new innovations from the technology standpoint of how we're moving the industry forward. Like all that stuff was awesome to see. But the biggest highlight was I got to meet and shake hands with, dude, it had to have been 20 to 30 very specific people who I have cultivated somewhat of a relationship with, or I'm a huge fan of, all through LinkedIn, and feel the people that I've had real conversations with and felt like I've gotten to know all through LinkedIn. And I've got to meet these people in person this week. So
That's
like that was
awesome.
my highlight. I got to a ton of them. And
Yeah,
it was just, it was so cool to see and to feel how we recognize each other immediately, even though we've only seen each other virtually. And it was almost as if like, oh, what we like, this has been real the entire time. Like these are my people, and getting to affirm that, dude, those are the relationships that will carry for the rest of your life. So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
that was the highlight of my trip, dude. It was so cool getting to meet all these different people, man. It was the same way. And the spark to that was when I got to meet Trey in St. Louis for the first time. I was like, oh, this has now become real. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So it's like I want to do as much of that as possible, um,
Heck yeah, that sounds
to
awesome.
connect with people.
Yeah.
So
Heck yeah.
it's
So I'm
ancestral, man.
yeah, yeah. I'm young. I mean, I just want wisdom, from all you guys. I mean, you guys just getting on LinkedIn and seeing you guys. I mean, it's just been awesome. So it's been an honor. I appreciate you letting me on today. And yeah, anybody that's watching, Hayden, we'll stay connected, whatever. But yeah, I just need wisdom, and you guys have been good for that. So I appreciate the connections and everything. So
Proverbs 27:17 is iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. It's the entire point of this at its simplest level. We are we live in a fallen world. The world needs strong people, especially strong men. In this world of toxic masculinity, quote unquote,
come on,
no, we need good men. We need
come
good,
on,
strong, godly men. We need men that are capable of great violence, but choose to be in control, because that is what a good man is.
come on.
It is. and then to be led in the way that we are called to by Scripture, not based on our own morality or judgment. Like that is what I firmly believe. I choose to believe that. I will always choose to believe that, and I will live my life according. So like, glad to have you on, dude.
Absolutely. Yep.
We'll do this again real soon. Stay connected, bro. Keep connecting with people. If there's someone that I can introduce you to that you find of interest, like maybe if they're at a certain company and you want to learn more, if there's anyone in my network I can introduce you to, I'd be more than happy to connect you with anybody you need to. And just really lean on people in your network, dude, to learn and grow.
Well, I appreciate that. Really, I'll be here. I'll be watching everybody at 6. I'll get my workout stuff out, and so I appreciate it all. Thank you, guys.
All right, let the record reflect. He inked his name onto it. He'll be there.
Awesome. Thanks, Hayden.
Later, Scott. Y'all get after it this week, dude. If you need anything, give me a shout. Other than that, David Goggins says, stay hard.